Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 11:50 a.m. KKNW. I'm your host, Harriett Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. I was absent last week. I took the holiday off. I hope you had a nice holiday. Lots of things are going on in America. A lot of things are going on in the world. But there's a lot of good things going on. So today is going to be a good day. We're going to talk about what's good in the world. So, true transparency, my next guest is someone I know very intimately and know very well. We're going to welcome Omari Salisbury. He's with Converge Media. And boy, this is a good news day today. How you doing, Mr. Omari, Mr. Salisbury?
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Yeah, so anyway, we'll just get right to it. I usually have Mr. Ryan on to give an update, but we got a big update today. Big update for all my listeners. And I want to actually thank all my supporters. The Defenders Association, Market Street Shoes, and everyone who helped keep us on the air. We've been on 8 years now. And so we're just grateful. So yeah, just hop right on in. And I know that something really was happening. I want to talk a little bit about who you are and Converge Media and what's up with that.
Yeah, well, who I am is Omari Salisbury. I'm the founder of Converge Media. We like to say that we are a market leader in the storytelling of the Black experience in the Pacific Northwest through video.
I like that, a market leader. Yes. And also one of the things, I watched one of the trademark shows is the Morning Update show. Been on a couple of years. I started during the time of our pandemic and continued. So anyway, I really want to let people know if they haven't checked you out, checked out Converge Media. It's a lot of shows on there. It's a lot of things that people can get connected to and have a great time learning not only about the African American community here, but also around the state and some other things. So we had a lot of excitement on Saturday. And one was your birthday, right? You had a birthday on Saturday?
Yes, I did. I'm happy to be here. Another trip around the sun.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah. I think you probably might be looking at 50, right? You're closer to 50 than the 40, than to 39 maybe.
Yeah, no comment.
Well, I'll keep the secret. Yeah. So I asked you to come on today, knowing that you're getting ready to get got some other things going that you're going to be launching and doing. I just wanted you to come on and be able to talk to the community and the listeners about Saturday night and the great event that happened for Converge Media, it was something extraordinary. So just let you just go ahead and just give us an update. What happened?
Right. Well, okay. Well, Saturday, we were Converge Media. We were awarded an Emmy from the National Association of Television Arts and Sciences. Their award is called the Emmy. The Northwest chapter here, which represents 5 Western states, the governors voted unanimously to award us what's called the Governor's Award, and that's the highest honor that any chapter can give. Like I said, it was through a unanimous decision, and it was given to us. It was awarded to us to recognize our work in uplifting community and media to the last 2 years plus. And so, a very special occasion. They don't just, at any level, they don't just give those Emmys away. We're definitely the first Black-owned media to win that award as well. So a very historic moment. Just a great time, at Fremont Studios. It was a great celebration.
Yeah, well, for my listeners, true transparency, I was there. Wow, I was really impressed. Of course, I'd be impressed. Mr. Salisbury is getting, and his company is getting an Emmy. As most people know, that he's my son. So, of course, I was impressed. I was awesomely impressed. And I was escorted in by my other son, Tunde Salisbury. So we had a great time. the excellence there. I mean, it was a lot of excellence. I mean, you don't get to that level without having excellence. And to say that, and do you know how often? So this is not done often. So do you might know the last time the governor's award was given out as an Emmy? Do you might know the last time this happened?
I do not, but I do know that it is not like an annual occurrence.
Right,
so
right.
It doesn't happen all the time, right?
Yeah, I figured that. And how did Converge Media get nominated?
So Brian Callanan, who's from the Seattle channel and also the host of Seattle News, Views, and Brews, which is a show that airs on Converge every Wednesday, 7 p.m. He's actually a voting member over there at the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. And he was the one that started the discussion with them about 6 months ago.
Oh, yes. And I like Brian's show. So I like it. I like that update. I know it's going to be interesting this week, what's happening. They're going to be talking about these. I like his show. So thank you for that.
And I would say that Brian, we were there when Brian won his 6th Emmy. So he already had 5. So he won his 6th the other night.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, hey, this is nice to know it's repeatable.
Yeah, definitely.
That's really cool. I read someplace on Facebook that Cleve Tyson, who actually used to work at the PBS or Channel 9, got many Emmy awards when he was there. So it's interesting to know that. And then you get the people who are nominated. And so I guess the people who are nominated have to also be there because it's, you don't know until then. So I saw that there was a couple people that was nominated also. I saw all of that. So, well, tell me about your work ethic and then what keeps you going and around the excellence you produce it. So give us a little insight about Mr. Salisbury.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just kind of doing what I love. So, it doesn't really, I don't think it takes a lot of extra, than that when you're doing what you really want to be doing. Of course, it's hard work, but, usually anything worth having is. But, for me, it's all about just being committed to the outcome and committed to the long-term vision or Converge. We early on from day one, we said that we wanted to be exactly what we are right now, which is great because we're literally thriving in our purpose from many, many years ago. We're thriving in our purpose and we're happy to be here, Lots of days, lots of long days here, long nights as well as anybody could imagine. So especially small business owners that might be out there. And, when the end result though is like, uplift of the community and uplift of our elders and our businesses and resources and things like that. So what makes it worthwhile. And so, for us, we got about 15 shows. We got a lot of great programming. We're getting ready to launch we already launched down in Portland, our production office, and get ready to do a bunch of other stuff there.
Wow. Well, I mean, I really like some of those shows. I mean, and congratulations on that and that expansion, and also for all the shows that's on Converge Media. And a staple for me is News and Brews, and another staple for me is clapback culture. I mean, I like the format of it. I like the back and forth. I like that they talk about issues around the country, related to us and sometimes related to other people, but also bringing good insight to do a lot of in-depth research. And when they bring things, and then they also make sure that they circle back to close the loop the next week. So I really like that show, and I am enjoying the art of the matter. So I want to congratulate you on the programming, and also the twins that made them way up on the stage the other night. I mean, they got a nice show also. Yeah.
Yeah, no, these guys, I mean, they're all doing very well. And
I mean,
I mean, mhm.
mhm. No, I was going to say it's amazing how many people want to, who actually have been creative to come to want to put a show together. You know, proof. I mean, his show. I mean, and then he brings in a lot of people with him, doesn't he? He doesn't come in the studio by himself.
No, it's always a big deal when he's there, and he does. I mean, he represents a lot of, our neighborhood. Excuse me, what we like to call the final mile, and
Right.
he's there representing the final mile.
Wow. Yeah, I really like that. So, and I'm getting more familiar with the artists because last week I knew the artist that was on the show. I mean, she's a great
Okay.
artist, Barbara Earl. I know her, and I've seen her work. And I said, wow, that's really nice. But also, I mean, talk a little bit about that. Talk a little bit about that. The trip that you all took to Belize. Talk a little bit about that trip.
Oh yeah, well, we were fortunate back in November of last year when Alaska Airlines was launching their nonstop service from Seattle to Belize City. That, man, they asked us to go along, and 16 of us hopped on the Alaska Airlines jet and went down to Belize City. Belize went all over Belize, Placencia, Dangriga, Hopkins. Hopkins is where the Garufuna people are at. Well, they're all over, but a stronghold there in Hopkins. And yeah, we were able to spend 10 days down there in Belize, come back with a lot of great content and opportunities and everything else. So it was really, really cool. And, it's a really good relationship that we've enjoyed with Alaska Airlines. It's our hometown airline.
Right. And it was so beautiful to see it coming from them and to see people who had, direct roots. We all have roots to Africa, but, it's so much about the people that they just like they were in love with themselves, what I saw.
Yeah,
and their culture, I mean, and the ways that they do things. I just saw, wow. I mean, it's good to see people with melanin. I mean, that really in love with themselves because they have it, they fostered that. There's nothing wrong with us. I like that. I like all the different people who went and the segments that they brought back and the pictures that they brought back. And so, and I thought it was really great. And another great thing that I thought that Converge Media had put on and did a segment about was when the salmon came in, and what happened when the boat, when the plane, not the boat.
And the salmon 30
salmon. The boat had already met the plane. So when the plane landed, and
that was the salmon 30 salmon. Yeah, when the Chinook salmon comes down, we weren't able to go this year because the timing, the freighter came in real early. But yeah, last year we were out there. Like I said, it's lots of great stuff. I would say this is that Alaska Airlines. What I've come to find out is they're really an airline that lives. It's a culture. You know what I'm saying? And especially last few years, we found a lot of businesses were trying to find their conscious and they're trying to, and we'll see if they figure it out. But, Alaska Airlines has had a lot of commitments within our community, going back 15, 20 years and everything else. And so it's always a very authentic experience being able to do anything with Alaska because we know they're not just calling us because we Black. You know what I'm saying? Calling us because probably what they're doing is probably really cool, and they want some cool people like us to be around what they're doing. And you know what I'm saying? And you realize that, and that's why, every opportunity that I get to be able to tell people about our experience with Alaska, and that's like on the TV side, production side, but also every time we're on the airplane, very, very comfortable, fantastic experience there, great customer service. So, we look forward to doing more stuff with Alaska here, in the coming months. They're a really good partner.
That's wonderful. We're going to take a break at 9, come back, and we'll finish continuing talking to the Converge Media mogul there, Mr. Salisbury. You listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 KKNW. We'll be right back.
Market Street Shoes is happy to sponsor the Mother's Justice Show in honor of our mother, Jackie Higgins Rosebrook, who spent her life fighting for social justice, and also in honor of all mothers who fight for social justice. Market Street Shoes, fashionable footwear and apparel for life's everyday adventures, in the heart of Ballard since 2006. Visit marketstreetshoes.com.
Roxanne Watson is on a mission to have more people sign up as organ, eye, and tissue donors. What drives her? Roxanne received a heart transplant made possible by an organ donor.
I decided that day to devote myself to signing up the most people in the United States. That's my goal.
Now she's a powerful force for good. What could you make possible as an organ, eye, and tissue donor? Leave behind the gift of life. Go to organdonor.gov. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
Hi, this is Dr. K. Mahina Intron, inviting you to tune in on Mondays on 1150 KKNW at 5 p.m. to Dr. K's Attuning to Your Abundance, where we honor everyday abundance through positive messages, poetry, music, affirmations, and writing exercises. For more information, contact Dr. K Workshops at gmail.com or Facebook, Dr. K's Abundance.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. I just love radio. Thank you. Thank you to all my supporters who help keep me on the air. You know, our goal is to keep the grassroots voice alive, not only in Seattle, but around the country. And we've been trying to do that for 8 years. And today we're going to have a feel-good day because we have lots of other stuff that's always going on in the world. But today is a feel-good day. Bring my guests back on. So Omari Salisbury, they received an Emmy this past weekend. And Mr. Omari.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah. All right.
I'm here.
All righty. Thank you so much. And let's continue here this fine interview. I want to just go ahead and give you the floor because you were talking about uplifting young people. And I know that that's really because you got young people. You got young people also. So let's talk a little bit about young people before we talk about the Throwback Fridays, Throwback Thursdays and other things that we want to talk about.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I would just say that, of course, empowering young people in our communities is part and parcel of who we are and what we do. You know, I think that when we talked about this morning on the day with Trey, on Trey Holiday's new show, today was the first day, what we talked about is that sometimes people who have access to the best and greatest opportunities for young people, they old people who don't want to get off the pot. You know what I'm saying? And they don't want to bring nobody in. I thought you were talking about me, man. No, they don't want to, you know, I mean, and so there's opportunity. Like, it would be crazy for me to be around all this opportunity and everything else and not be showing these young people how, you know, where it is, how it feels and what to say and, you know, and even giving them an opportunity to fail. You know, it's a lot of young people come through here, man, and they hone their craft and then they move on. This is a testing ground for a lot of young people as well, because we have the capacity for that. We have the space and grace and everything else, and the connections, always, you know, making some cool stuff happen. So, you know, this is the uplifting young people is always going to be part and parcel of what we do, and uplifting our community. And we do some cool stuff. Don't get me wrong, but like that's special.
Oh yeah, and they get to come to what kind of studio every day? What does it say there? Oh, lovely photographs of African American people history there. What's that? What is the name of the studio?
It's the Black Media Matters Studio.
And just a little smidget about people who've come there to be interviewed, like you said before. Some of them have been around the world, especially people who are on stage. And what was some of the main sentiments they had to say?
Oh,
coming
yeah,
to
well,
a Black Media Studio.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we get a lot of people from arts and the entertainment sector, and you know they tour all over America, all over the world. They said it's a very rare experience that they're able to come to, you know, a studio like ours, our Black Media Matters Studios, and do something this fantastic. And so this is a rare, I could say this, the Convergence is a gem in so many different ways. And one of the ways that we're definitely a gem is that, Black people are able to come to here to the city of Seattle and, be in a world-class production facility that's Black owned.
Wow. That is really something. I mean, it really, really is to be able to see yourself. And I've seen most of those interviews and to see the look on the people's faces. Because they have not experienced that. And no, none of us have. And that's the beauty of Converge Media and the uplift of the people, and to be able to tell a great story about us. And one of the things that I know that you said more than once, and you like to leave people in an uplift and make sure that, because most of the stories in my life experience, and I've been on the planet for a while, is that most of the stories, if it had not been for Ebony magazine and Jet magazine, the Pittsburgh Courier and the Chicago Defender, I would have never seen anything good about us growing up because there was nothing out there. And that would continue. Hollywood had all this stuff about us, and and then Black people started making stuff that was bad about us, and that kind of stuff. So, but to see this is an intentional uplift. It's absolutely intentional, and that's what I think one of the beauty of Converge Media and what you're putting out into the world. And I appreciate that. Because my generation suffered from Tarzan, telling the natives who lived in Africa what to do. And then to realize that the man who wrote Tarzan had never been to Africa. So that's the generation I come through. So, this is lovely for me. And other people who are growing up with this, you're making this normal.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want to do. Let's normalize Blackness. Let's normalize, all of these things that are here. We just want to be able to do what we can while we can.
That's right. Yeah, you used to say that. I mean, wasn't that one of those little guys that you heard that was on either in the Sudan or one of those places? He said he wanted to do as much as he can, as long as he could, something like that. He was a little guy. I think it was a soldier or something like that. One of those children soldiers that was on the television one time. Somebody said that, and I'm glad that you remembered that, because it makes a difference to do what you can as long as you can, because we'll all have an ending date, but to be able to leave an imprint in the world is a prestigious thing, and imprint for good. Now, there's a lot of imprints out there. Don't get me wrong. So a lot of people gonna have their stamp in the book of life, but it might not, because they made the world a better place. And it's amazing to have the stamp in the book of life that you've done what you could as long as you could, and Converge Media is doing that. But before we heading in that time, I want to talk about my darling, and this is Throwback Thursday. I love that. I love the history. And I think about the history. Had we known this history, we might have been able to save the Central area when Wheat and Steed first came out. And I was trying to organize people about how to keep the Central area, and nobody organized with me. But the history, and that's what I like. So let's talk a little bit about that history that you bring there with the Black Heritage Society.
Oh, well, the Black Heritage Society definitely brings all the history, but we're fortunate enough to bring the production.
Right.
And that production is we team up with Stephanie Johnson Tolliver, the Black Heritage Society, and in our studio we have what's called our iconic interview wall, and these are photos that Al Smith, the great photographer Al Smith, took in the Seattle Central District between the 40s and 60s. And every week Stephanie comes and tells a story about one of the photos, and it's like, it's really, really cool.
It is really, really cool, people. That is the truth. And if we ever do open house, invite the kids in or something like that, I mean, it's going to be absolutely it's a spectacular. And I heard that somewhere down the line it might be a curriculum to go at that wall, so people can know exactly who that person is. And some might already be there, but it is such a cool wall to see. I mean, because there was a heyday for us, and there's another heyday. I mean, our good time is not over, but we had a time when people was actually had purpose, had, knew who they were on some level and was working through it no matter what was in their way. So that's to me what that wall represents. And I'm so glad it's there. And I could see the face when Mrs. Tolliver came in, and just to see a ray of sunshine on her face. You want to tell who Miss Tolliver is?
Yeah, Stephanie Johnson Tolliver is the president of the Black Heritage Society of Washington State.
Wow. That's something. That's something to have that relationship. And also, I think you out at Mohai, aren't you? Aren't you there forever at Mohai?
Well, I'm in there for a few different. I'm in there a few times. I was named an Everyday Hero in the city of Seattle back in 2020. Then also Converge Media, our company, was in the exhibit Stand Up Seattle, the Democracy Project. You were in there as well. That one. Mm-hmm. And then also there was when we covered the Seattle protest, there was a red iPhone that became real popular. That's the phone I used in a lot of the frontline coverage. That phone is in Mohai. It's part of the Black Heritage Society of Washington State, and the repositories in Mohai. And yeah, that's the phone from out there.
Oh. So. Well, son, you've lived international for so long, and you, like you say, you learned all of this, and you grew up in an African media wheelhouse, and so you brought your skills back to America. You've done a great job here, Converge Media. Congratulations on the Emmy. I well-deserved Emmy for Converge Media. I want to bless you with good blessings as to what's next. I personally will miss the morning update show, but I can get used to other things. But it was always good to see my son on there every day, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you in other things. I want to appreciate you for taking time out of your busy day. I know you got a busy schedule and busy things, lots of new things coming up. So thank you so much for coming on to the Mother's Justice Show, and I'll be seeing you. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show in 1150 KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air. We'll be right back.
Market Street Shoes is happy to sponsor the Mother's Justice Show in honor of our mother, Jackie Higgins Rosebrook, who spent her life fighting for social justice, and also in honor of all mothers who fight for social justice. Market Street Shoes, fashionable footwear and apparel for life's everyday adventures, in the heart of Ballard since 2006. Visit marketstreetshoes.com.
Good afternoon. You're listening to the Mother's Justice Show in 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host, Reverend Walden. It's my joy to be on the air, and I should get that AM right in there all the time. It's my joy to be on the air. I've been on for 8 years now, so thank all my supporters. I'm going to bring my next fabulous guest on. Very fabulous. But also, just before I do that, Eric, I want to thank you for that song. I grew up singing that song every day. It is what I grew up. It was called the Negro National Anthem. And I was raised in Florida. We sung it every day of my life. So I thank you for that song. I really do, to lift every voice. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm going to bring my next guest on, who is really a star. Oh, man. I'm going to bring up Miss TraeAnna, Miss Holiday. How you doing, Miss Holiday?
Hi, Reverend Walden. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be back on your show, the Mother's Justice Show right here on KKNW. So glad to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you for your yes today, because I know that you had a busy weekend. You were there, you part of Converge, and that wonderful Emmy ceremony. I mean, it was something. So let's just talk a little bit about the Emmy and how you're feeling, and I know your family was there. Who was there from your family with you?
Well, the great thing was all my family was supporting from afar, so they were just so excited, sharing the photos that I was sending them and sharing the stream. It really is such an honor to receive the governor's award for the Emmys. And, when you're doing something where it's like you're living in your purpose, you just every day you go after it, right? Every day you get a little bit further on that path that is your own. And I am so grateful that my path gets to be more public facing in this way, and that I get to do what I love, which is connecting with my community and, really bringing all of that connection to a TV format through Converge Media. It has been such a phenomenal ride. And I know this is just the beginning. That's the exciting part. We're just getting started.
I believe that, and congratulations, because one thing I know for sure, because I've had many things that I've done in my lifetime, you got many chapters of a life in a lifetime, but it takes hard work and dedication. It takes a passion. And sometimes you have to isolate yourself from the people who might not quite believe in your vision or believe in your dream. Because every now and then you find somebody who they might not catch your fire, but they'll catch the heat from your fire and they'll be with you.
Yeah.
Because everybody might not see the whole vision, the whole panorama view that you as a creative or instigator can, or initiative can, but they can see a part of it. And they can come and be with you at sea. And then sometimes their vision grows to be able to see it, and sometimes it doesn't. And like Omari said earlier, and when he was on, is that you have to, or maybe he said it someplace else, you got to get the right people on the bus.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. I mean, he just was talking about that today on The Day with Trey. Airs on Converge Media, 11 a.m. to 11:30 every day, Monday through Friday. But he did say that, and I agree. And I really agree with what you just said too. It reminds me of something we would always say in my family, like sometimes relationships are seasonal, right? And some of those seasons last a lifetime, and some of those seasons are exactly that, right? They are that season. And, I always appreciate the fact that I understand every relationship that you have in your life is going to enhance another part of your life, right? So it's there for a reason. You're there to learn from each other, whoever that relationship is with. You're there to, grow as much as you can from the experiences that you have with that person or that group of people. Oftentimes, when relationships go in different ways, whether it's friendships or, intimate relationships, whatever, when they run their course, you got to step back and always think about all that you've gained through that, whether it's self-resilience, further identifying your purpose and your mission in this life. There's a lot of different things that we learn from relationships. And I agree 100%. Sometimes everybody can't always see that vision that you have, but if you stick to it, right, and if you stay diligent on it, eventually you'll really begin to see it pay off.
That's right, and that's what I wanted to say about Converge Media. It's like was gotten started. And I'm glad Eric was there the other night. Eric Calligraphy, a long time relationship, but also to think about the evolution. I mean, in down there, Africa Down Black Dot in that studio. And to bring on the people to make sure that our community had the truth that they could count on. I mean, because it's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, and I keep all my biases to myself because I'm not going to put any of them out there. But it's a lot of information out there. And you all was on it. You brought Dr. Moot on from the UW. Then I think you brought on Ashley McGirt to be talking about mental illness and some of the things that our community have suffered with. And then you just brought on, Jemison talking about gun violence. And I mean, no issue was too disdain to not to talk about. Brought on to talk about elderly care and elderly people. And so you've done a vast variety. And then comes 2020. Oh, and I mean, you guys was out there like on the sidewalk. I mean, at one time, you're just out there. And then, of course, I think it's really good for Omari to move to do something else right now because I say at some point we all have to heal, and what he experienced out there and what we saw was terrific. It was I saw it as a mother. I just couldn't watch it. I mean, really and truly. But for somebody who experienced it, it's a whole different reality. I couldn't watch it. One thing about trauma, Dr. Joy Leary, when I brought her here many times. I brought her here in 2006. And one of the things she said that trauma, she said by 9/11, she said people were traumatized, and she gave the different degrees of trauma. She said somebody in Brazil saw the airplanes flying into the building. They were so traumatized they'll never fly again. And she talked to different layers of, they experienced that from afar. And then she came down to talk about the people who experience it as a human against their own body, and against. And so, like the survivors of 9/11, I mean, those people, they experience it different than the lady in Brazil, but her trauma is such that she'll never fly again. And so we have all these different stages. So I think it's really appropriate for people to get some healing and so what they needed, and have Ashley to come on and talk about taking care of yourself, because now your generation and then your generation is teaching the younger generation that self-care is important, and that's been part of Converge Media, also bringing on people. I mean, on the update show, to bring on people to talk about self-care.
Yeah. I think far too often, particularly in the Black community, we don't deal with the things that that we need to deal with in terms of our own personal healing. And so I am, I'm glad that, we've really built up Converge to have an audience. I mean, 15 different shows, all of these content creators, on-air talent, production crew. Takes a lot of effort to pull all of these together. But you are right that, we understood early on that not only were we seeing this in the data in terms of numbers, because we saw a rise in domestic violence with, being stuck in their homes. We saw a rise of, mentally distressed issues stemming from isolation, particularly in our elder community. A lot of elders alone, and who, weren't able to see their kids and grandkids and, convene with their families on a regular basis.
And they didn't know how to use the media. They didn't know how to get on this, that we're on a Zooms or Facebook. I mean, some of them just only had the phone, I mean, some of those people just had the phone. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. And this is why Zoom blew up the way that it did, right? Because there was a need for us to see each other again. There was that need for us to be living socially together and always being connected. And so, I appreciate those early episodes of the Morning Update show that really were about, how we ensure our community is engaged, they're informed with the right information. And that they are understanding the resources that were out there, because there was a lot of resources hitting our community as well. And so you are absolutely right. This is why that saying of it takes a village is so true, because we all have to be looking out for each other. And that's still true to this day. I mean, we're still dealing with COVID effects right now. And although, it may seem like we're more open, we also still have to be very careful. So I appreciate that we've always kept that message alive on the Morning Update show, and throughout Converge around, how people can protect themselves and their families during this of COVID still being out there.
Right. Well, tell me a little bit about the trip to Belize. I mean, you and Besa got off the airplane like you own the country.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Tell the audience about what the Belize meant to you. And I know you've been out of the country before because you've been to the continent. But some of the people had not been out the country, didn't have a passport because they hadn't been out of the country. But tell me about you. Tell me about what it was like for you.
Yeah, Belize was another, amazing opportunity and experience for me to understand how we connect with communities, particularly Black communities globally. That is such a, thorough line for us at Converge Media. We talk about the Pacific Northwest and uplifting Black stories here, but it really is uplifting Black stories anywhere and everywhere. Mm-hmm, and Belize was an opportunity to do just that, because we really stepped up with the help of Alaska Airlines and the Belize Tourism Board, connecting us to different community groups out there in Belize. All of us who are on air talent, we all researched before we went down there to identify other stories that we wanted to tell Shout out to T-Dub, to Besa, to Curtis Delgado, to Julia, Jesse, myself, and Acacia, who, Acacia was amazing in terms of our, tour manager, just making sure that we had everything we needed every time, at every turn and every stop. But it was an amazing experience all around. And, personally for me, getting to connect with the Garifuna culture and the people was really, it's so inspiring. I really can't wait to go back. I went back in February to Belize, just celebrating my birthday, which was in December, but I took some time in February to really go back and just relax and enjoy the country of Belize. And, honestly, it was because of our trip out there to Belize, 14 of us going out there. I think maybe 14 to 16 of us going out there to Belize and being able to see this beautiful country, but experience the culture. That was really the high part, because you realize when you travel abroad, for Black folks, you also realize how connected we really are and how our stories may be intricate in terms of some of the details and the unique characteristics of that story. But overall, there's this story of resilience that is resounding in Black communities globally. And it was a beauty to be able to share that.
Well, I really like the with the machete. I mean, with you doing the fruit. What was that? What was the name of that fruit? Or was it the fruit?
Yeah,
it was the root.
Yeah. We had the roots coming out from the ground. So we had root vegetables from the ground, but we also had the coconuts that you saw.
Yeah.
We were able to literally make coconut milk out of the coconut shreds, chopping the coconut free. You know what I mean? Cutting it open. There was coconut milk that comes out, coconut water kind of that comes out. And then you also pulp the coconut inside, the actual pulp, you shred it, and then you squeeze it to make coconut milk, which we, creating that meal, with the Garifuna, it was really everything, because that was like a traditional meal. And, when you go to a place, if you go to like a resort or something, you're just not in bed in the culture. You're not experiencing the people. What I loved about what we did was no matter where we were staying, we knew we had to do these very specific trips to connect. And so Palmetto Grove was just an amazing place. Shout out to everybody who's involved in that effort there. Uwani, so appreciate her for her hospitality and her guidance in educating us on the culture and the history. Is just so rich and again, so inspiring.
Wow, I'm so glad to hear this because I grew up with fresh coconuts every now and then in Florida, and my grandmother used to crack them, and then what we would do is just chop it up and just eat the meat out of the coconut. I mean, we didn't do coconut milk, wasn't anything that was happening in those days, but fresh coconut is really delicious.
Yeah, it is. And also too, I would have never had an understanding of, some of the things that they do there as a people until you touch the soil. You know what I mean? When you're talking to the people, you're understanding, the language and how they've pushed language through all of their own colonialism and, now even colonial gentrification that's happening over there. You can see it, right? And for me, that's always, when I first started traveling through the continent of Africa and Europe and everything, for me, it was about how cities were built. For urban studies, that was like a real driving force for me to travel, not just to connect with people, but I was trying to understand how cities were built. And so being in Belize, you really get this vast, wide variety of, how the people are holding firm to their land, but also how, rich white folks and rich folks all over the world are seeing it as a place for their new vacation home. So I saw that dichotomy there as well. It's amazing how much that story aligns so many of us globally.
Well, one thing about the people in Fiji, they don't let people buy their property. I mean, you can use the property for so many years, but you don't get to own the property. And I don't know if Belize have anything set up that way, because otherwise, I mean, and the countries can really set the standards. They don't have to let people come in and just take their property. If you're a solvent country, you have a right to say no. Yeah. And then be able to set things up. But this is wonderful. So I'm glad to know that you went back over there. for your birthday, Cappy. So you had a late birthday. Well, you know, Capricorns, we're so Cappy that we celebrate the whole year. We just hijack anybody else's month.
Absolutely. I know you all too well, Reverend Walden.
So tell me about the new adventure for you. Let's talk a little bit about the Day with Trey. I mean, so so tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you know, it's exciting because one of my very first shows with Converge Media under the other name, when we first launched with Africatown Media Network, you know, we were doing different shows, Omari and I, and Community Corner at that time, and I was interviewing people, and that concept merged into Chats with Trey on Converge Media. And you know, I've always wanted to sit down with my elders, with community leaders, with different people throughout the community, and Chats with Trey was a way to do that, to spotlight businesses and everything. So the Day with Trey kind of really expands on all of these ideas. Every iteration of any show that involved me as a main host has been, how do we elevate community issues, community solutions? And this show is going to be really a chance for me to kind of culminate all of that experience. We're going to be talking about fashion and business and travel and news and health and wellness and community engagement. We're going to be talking about finances. And again, you were just talking about self-care. There's so many great people that are doing all of this kind of work within and throughout our community that I'm excited that the Day with Trey is like our daily talk show, right? I think about Oprah and Ellen and, you know, all of these amazing shows that with women that have inspired me. And I realized, like, that's what I want the Day with Trey to be. I want it to be the go-to place for people to get their news, to get a dose of good news, as well as, you know, those inspiring stories. That's what's exciting me about it. So happy. It's on every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. On Converge Media Network. Anywhere that you find our Converge channels, it's all over the streams.
So are you going to do it in the old folks days? Or once you going to bring some old folks on? Because I heard that my previous guest say old folks need to go sit down, and I said, oh, okay. Well, some old folks are still at it.
Well, no, we gotta showcase our elders. It is from the wisdom of our elders that we thrive today, right? So we have to do that. It's important.
Yeah. So hey, don't throw out the baby with the old bathwater.
Yeah. Right.
Because we know it ain't no new bathwater. That's old bathwater.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, don't be so modern that you throw out the baby. Throw it all away, and you be wondering, we don't have no historical knowledge here. Why are we inventing this wheel? Because you threw out the bathwater. You threw all the old folks out.
Oh, we can't do that. We cannot do that at all.
There's a new book coming out talking about trailblazers in the Pacific Northwest, and Dr. Mims is in that book. I guess it was something in the Seattle Times yesterday. My friend called me about it. New book is coming out on July 4th about trailblazers, Black women trailblazers in Washington State. So it covers the state, and I think it always goes back to the 1900s or something like that. So it's but comprehensive, but Dr. Mims is in that. So you can't do a book in Washington State about trailblazers and leave out Dr. Mims.
Not at all.
She's a real trailblazer and continuing to be a beacon for all of us. So I was glad to know about that. And then, you know, eventually you'll be in that book. You know when it went.
That's an amazing feat right there.
Yeah, you know, but what Converge has done in this town for me is that it has shaped our character to say that there's good stories to come out the Black community. If it bleeds, it leads. Well, that's not here.
Yeah,
we ain't bleeding and it ain't leading.
That's right.
And you're changing the narrative, because really nobody wants to change the narrative, because they'll have to say, well, those people are not who we thought they were. Because you see, as long as they don't have to change the narrative, they can say, well, they're just violent. Their kids are not smart because that's why they can't read. You know, they all go to prison. I mean, blah, 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 because that's the narrative. And one thing about colonialism and the system that we're in, nobody ever wants to change the narrative. That's why all the studies come out to fit the same narrative.
Yeah.
And so Converge Media has set a new standard. And I've noticed how 5 and some of the other stations are trying to do something, bringing on more Black voices or other voices now. At least have a little segment, to have a snippet to say something good. And the other thing that Converge has done for my listeners to know is that when it was happening in our community, and a young lady did lose her life, and they wanted to say that she knew the shooter over at NAM, which is the Northwest African American Museum. They have some apartments there, and we knew people that live in that apartment, and we knew the young man who Providence had it, that he was not in that car. You know, and that it wasn't his time, I should say. He had it done. And so we changed the narrative on that. If Converge has not been around, that narrative that they say, oh, well, that was just something that went bad because they knew one another. They did not know one another. But because of your interest and the interest of Converge Media and knowing people, we knew Terrell out there with the CD Panthers.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't, and so was able to change the narrative. And when you force people to change the narrative, that forces them to see you in a different way.
Absolutely. And it also is a showcasing of our connectivity to community. One of the things that we always say at Converge is we are part and parcel of this community. We are the community. It's right. Not telling stories about a community that we don't belong to. We belong to this community. We're still in this community, and we still love and care about this community. So our approach to storytelling and, ensuring that the narrative really fits where our community is at is really important and key to us in our work. And it's a total guiding factor for how we tell these stories of our community.
And that's excellent. And only you can do that. I mean, you all have carved this road out. And I'm excited to see that it's going to be spread around, and and then when they went to Spokane, that was beautiful. Yeah, it was beautiful to go to Spokane, and then the other thing, and then I like this new couple. This couple talk about driving while Black in Seattle or traveling while Black in Seattle. Yeah. I mean, that's such a cute story. They're just so cute little couple. Yeah. And they just go anywhere. They just both say, we're going to boss up in here and see how they treat us, and then we're going to rate it from 1 to 5. And I know the other day they had something on that they gave it a 1 because it wasn't friendly.
See, everything has a 5-star rating.
No. So, I just wanted to congratulate you on your new show, The Day with Trey. It rhymes, of course, The Day with Trey. And also, you'll always be looking spectacular. With the Converge on, and then your other, you're just so outstanding. And congratulations on this Governor's Awards, which is outstanding. As I learned earlier, it's not given often, but when it is, it's spectacular. Yeah. So you all are spectacular. You are doing it, and you're doing it in a graceful way, in a good way, and you can't do nothing but have good success along the way. And I want to thank you and congratulations on that Emmy. I got to touch it too, but I got to touch it.
Oh, thank you.
Soon they escorted me there, and good to see you and to see you again. And I want to thank you for coming on Morning Update Show. I mean, listen at me, the Morning Update Show. Listen at me. I thank you for coming on the Mother's Justice Show. And I look forward to seeing you. All right. Thank you. All right, you listen to the Mother's Justice Show on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm your host. I'll see you next week. Thank you.